Hey guys, and welcome back to the God's Great podcast. Today the topic is about vocations. There are 4 important vocations which include marriage, single life, religious life, and priesthood. But for this podcast, we will be focusing on the vocation of marriage. Now, first off, let's define what a vocation is. A vocation is the way that God calls you to serve Him in the world. It's basically like God's mission for you on earth. Discerning your vocation is an important part of living your faith because the Catholic Church believes that every person is created with a purpose, and therefore everyone has a vocation to fulfill. A vocation is God's calling for you, and it allows for you to be at service. So now that we understand the definition and importance of vocations, let's move our focus to the vocation of marriage. The vocation of marriage is a lifelong partnership between a man and a woman that requires the married couple to fulfill their duties in marriage, procreation, and the community. Most people think of a marriage as a legal contract, but marriage is a sacramental sign based on love that the husband and wife share with each other, and it's a union of man and woman. In the Old Testament, it states that mankind was created according to the image and likeness of God, and that man and woman were made for each other, and they become united through marriage. God calls on us for marriage, and it's important to live out this vocation. A married couple can live out their vocation by helping lead each other and their children to a life of holiness and to heaven. You can have a successful marriage by showing love to your family in ways such as staying true to your vows you made to your partner, treating your children with love and compassion, improving your community as a married couple, and many other ways. The essential purpose of every vocation is to fulfill our call to love God and neighbor. The married life allows us to live out this call because when a husband or wife helps, leads, or loves each other and their children, they reflect God's love and bring others closer to Him. The sacrament of marriage provides us with the God-given grace that is intended to strengthen and perfect a couple's love, and with this grace, couples can help their children and their community. There are many opportunities for married couples to love and serve God. For example, parents can serve the Lord together through praying, reading the Bible, and attending church together. These are all things that anybody can do to serve God, but when a married couple serves the Lord together, it's seen as even more special because of the unity that a husband and wife share. Spreading love to offspring and others is fundamental for marriage to serve God. The everyday life of a married couple should be filled with love, respect, trust, and happiness. The couple should be spending their daily lives caring and loving for their children in the hopes of raising kind and faithful kids. Through procreating, not only does the couple serve God, but they also serve future generations. Married couples are called together to help their community improve through spending their time and efforts towards serving others. In the vocation of marriage, the rite of marriage ceremony is fundamental. This ceremony can be split up into 6 stages. The first is the wedding homily, which starts after some biblical reading. The priest will speak about the significance of marriage, and he'll explain the different ways that they can serve God. The second stage is questions, where the priest will ask 3 questions. Number 1 is, have you come to offer yourselves freely? Number 2 is, will you love and honor each other for life? And lastly, will you accept children lovingly from God and bring them according up to the Catholic faith? These questions are asked to ensure that the marriage is valid and has consent, good intentions, and the couple is open to children. The third stage is the exchange of vows, which is the actual moment of the sacrament. This sacrament is different from the others because the couple administers it instead of the priest. The priest is just a witness. Marriage vows are promises that the partners make to each other, and in this stage you're declaring your lifelong commitment to your spouse and pledging to be faithful in front of witnesses. Next is stage 4, which is where the couples exchange rings. And the shape of the ring is a circle to represent eternal love, and the ring also symbolizes the permanent commitment they vow to be a part of. The 5th stage is the marriage blessing, which reminds the couple of their love for each other and how it resembles the love between Jesus and the church. And the final stage of the ceremony is the signing of the marriage register, which is a civil or legal requirement. Now let's discuss how to find your vocation. Marriage is seen as a natural vocation because this sacrament doesn't require a specific call from God, and it is practiced by people from all religions. A vocation is a personal calling that is offered freely and must be accepted freely. People usually accept a vocation gradually and naturally. The process of finding your vocation is called discernment, and this process can be helped through prayer and advice from priests, family, friends, etc. To find your call to marriage, you can pray to God about your concerns and questions, and this will help you self-reflect and dig deeper into your personality to see if marriage is for you. Those who are called to marriage should understand what the vocation requires and the virtues needed to have a successful marriage. You need to ask yourself questions like, am I ready for a lifelong commitment? Do I want to have children? Would I be a respectful and honest spouse? Just questions that will help you recognize your abilities, passions, and desires. Marriage preparation is important, and the church recognizes this, which is why they recommend that couples take marriage preparation courses. These courses come in different forms, but the overall focus is to help couples develop a better understanding of the sacrament, provide insight to the couple regarding issues that may not have come up during dating, and evaluate if they are ready for the married life. As I said before, marriage preparation courses can take different forms. Some couples attend a weekend retreat, some are matched with a sponsored couple that demonstrates a successful marriage, and some classes are operated by the parish or diocese. The most important thing to understand when attending these programs is that the couple should be investing their time and energy into preparing for a lifelong marriage instead of focusing on the wedding ceremony or other temporary events. Now I'm going to move on to some questions on our Instagram page. The first question is by Dylan, and he asks, which beatitude reflects marriage the best? Well, Dylan, in my opinion, blessed are the pure in the heart, for they shall see God, is a beatitude that relates to marriage the most. When Jesus says pure in heart, he's referring to internal purity. And then when he says, for they shall see God, Jesus is promising that those with a pure heart will see and feel God's love. This relates to marriage because, as I mentioned before, when a married couple shares a strong bond and loves each other unconditionally, they mirror the bond between God and the church. So think of a couple having a successful marriage as them being pure in heart, and then the happy marriage allows them to see God because their love resembles the love that the God and the church share. Another way that this beatitude connects with the vocation of marriage is that when a couple is pure-hearted with each other, they are able to have a happier marriage, which leads to a closer connection to God. When I think of seeing God, I think of feeling His grace and happiness. So it makes sense that a happy marriage would allow us to feel closer to God. I'm going to do one more question, then we can wrap this podcast up. Tim on Instagram asks, how does the vocation of marriage connect to Aristotle's ethical theories? Well, Aristotle believed that happiness was the end goal of life and that it can only be achieved in community. Now, we already have a similarity here because Aristotle believed that unity must be present for happiness, and the whole concept of marriage revolves around the union of man and woman. The idea of marriage is to bring two people closer to each other in hopes that they better their lives and the lives of those around them, which shows how marriage involves community. Also, Aristotle emphasizes that happiness isn't the same as pleasure, and this relates to marriage because the married life is a path to eternal happiness, unlike pleasure, which is temporary and less significant. In the same way that Aristotle believed that a virtuous life is the only way to obtain genuine happiness, the church believes that a marriage based on virtue and righteousness is a path to a happy marriage and ultimately a happy life. Furthermore, Aristotle's belief was that responsible action must be voluntary and must be done with good intent. Similarly, the church considers marriage to be valid only if it is chosen freely, and the couple must get married with the intent of being faithful to each other and having children. Following Aristotle's theory as a married couple can help you become more ethical and respectful, because having a virtuous marriage will surely improve your ethics. For example, if you treat your spouse with honesty, respect, and faithfulness, there is a higher chance that this attitude will transmit to the other areas of your life. Also, understanding that community and unity are essential for happiness will help you realize the importance of the aspects of marriage, such as staying true to your vows, having open communication with your partner, and raising children. Alright, Tim, I hope that answered your question. That'll be all for today's podcast. I hope you learned a lot about the vocation of marriage and the importance of it. See you next week on the God is Great podcast.